Hey Capricorn, and welcome to your monthly tarot reading. So this is for the month of July 2023 for Capricorn sun or rising signs. Feeling this card here. We're going to take a look at the overall overarching theme for the month, and we're also going to take a look at the progression of the month and take a look at beginning, middle, and end. Also, just what kind of challenge might be coming up for you, and also any kind of spiritual advice that goes along with that. So I do not only these monthlies. If you've not been to my channel before, welcome. I also do bi-weekly-ish videos. Just feeling that card there. Bi-weekly videos that go from full moon to new moon and new moon to full moon. So you can find those videos also on my channels. And I was incorporating astrology into the videos, but it was just making them too long. So you'll find a playlist that is called Astrological Highlights. Now I'm feeling this card here, Astrological Highlights, and that's where you can find anything that I'm highlighting for the month. I was doing those bi-weekly, but I think I'm going to play with the format and maybe just make smaller videos throughout the month. We'll see. I haven't decided on that yet. Either way, it'll be up on the screen towards the end of this reading, end of this video. All right, and what kind of spiritual advice do we have showing up for you? Interesting. I might pull an extra card. We'll see what I'm feeling as we go through this. Okay. All right. Interesting, Capricorn. So when I get the fuzz that's all over it's whenever I shuffle my cards. Anyway, so let's take a look at the overarching theme for the month, and then we'll move through the progression of the month. So we have the Sun card showing up. You know, what I love about the Sun card is that this is all about your vitality, right? This is all about how you shine and where you feel your vitality coming through. And if you're not feeling your shine, if you're not feeling your vitality, this is a time to pay attention to what does bring you into that space. What are the things that make you feel vibrant and alive? And I would say if you are not sure, then like the thing that I find is a really helpful bringing you out of the dark, kind of when we're feeling lost and not really sure anymore, is starting with the things that really just feel the best for us. Noticing when you feel happy or lit up or enjoying life or laughing or, you know, want to geek out about something, for instance. That's a clue for me. That's a sign for me when I see that I want to just like dive into a subject, right? So when you find yourself noticing when you feel lit up, when you feel more vibrant, when you feel more alive. And that could have to do with things on a very physical level. That could have to do with like just sleep, like good, healthy food, sleep, like exercise, like, you know, getting out into like nature walks or, you know, whatever it is, getting some fresh air, getting some sunlight, whatever it is, there is this, what brings you into that state of feeling your vital force, your vitality in that way. This is, as it says, it's your source light, right? So I feel like that is something that is coloring the month of July for you. And I feel like that's going to be a guiding light in a sense to take you through. Now, it's an interesting progression that I see happening with this month. The first third of the month, we have the King of Cups. In the middle of the month, we have the Five of Pentacles, and then we have the Ten of Pentacles. So I find this really interesting. This is like, I'm definitely curious. I happen to have a few Capricorns in my close circle, so I definitely am going to be asking them about this because I'm like, this is an interesting reading already. So let's get started with the King of Cups. So King of Cups is definitely, I would say, is about emotional maturity. So emotional maturity being on deck, perhaps there are things that you're needing to deal with that have to do with testing your emotional maturity, your ability to hold many different kinds of emotions, right? The thing about the King of Cups is like, remember that the kings in tarot are about responsibility and leadership, right? And in order to rule his kingdom, he is going to need to be able to hold the breadth of the emotions, the shadow and the light, all of those things, and to be able to navigate and work with those, to utilize them as strengths, or to work with the energy that feels more challenging. Like the King of Cups can't be someone who's thrown to the side, you know, or like disappears into depression, or falls apart, or like loses it in anger, or like any of those kinds of things when he's running his kingdom. Otherwise his kingdom is not going to run very well. It'll just crumble. So the thing about the King of Cups that I've always really admired is that he has to be able to not be stoic in any way, but he's able to feel all of the emotions and utilize that energy, like feel the energy through, feel the emotions through, and still be able to remain present, and still be able to remain compassionate too. Like this is a compassionate king, is able to, because he can feel the breadth of emotions, he understands the human experience, is able to actually be compassionate and empathetic. So I feel like there's something about that that's on deck for you at the beginning of this month. And maybe it's having to do with this, your vital life force. Maybe it has to do with you claiming that, or reclaiming that, or making that, magnifying that, making that brighter. It's interesting though, because we move into the middle of the month and there is this kind of feeling of, I would say feeling like lack, feeling like out in the cold, feeling maybe even wanting to be like away from community, away from people. I say that because I see the Hermit showing up here, but like there is this feeling of, with the Five of Pentacles, feeling like out in the cold, right? Feeling like everything is on your shoulders, or feeling like you're all alone in this, like I have to do this all alone, and like it's all on my shoulders and nobody can help me, and feeling maybe even some kind of seeing or feeling lack in your life, like feeling like you're lacking in the resources to create the life that you want, to create the kingdom that you want, to do the things that you want to do, and maybe feeling challenged by that in some way, feeling lonely too. This can be a card about feeling loss or loneliness in some way. And like the thing that's interesting about this card that I always think about is like these people could easily go inside, out of the snowstorm and into the building behind them that has like the warm lights on that you can see through the stained glass. It's like there's community, there are people that want to be there, that are there for you, and you're not all alone, and you don't have to do this alone, and you don't have to be lonely and out in the cold and feeling like it's all on your shoulders. So there is like something in the middle of the month that might feel like a challenge around that. Given the astrology that's happening, I might guess around like the 17th or 19th or something like that. Just coming to me because of like, again, that'll be in the astrological videos, but just like what's happening around that time, I get the sense that between those days might be part of this energy or this feeling that's coming up, or sometime in that middle third of the month, right? And again, this can be with like, this could be with related to your health, but it could also be related to, what you're creating in terms of like your kingdom, right? Like the life that you're creating for yourself. And part of the reason I bring that up is because we have the 10 of Pentacles here, and with the 10 of Pentacles, like, yeah, this is the foundational legacy that you're creating. And even if you don't have like children, like, because often we think of legacy, what we're leaving behind for our children, right? Or what we're leaving behind for the world, right? And for not everyone, legacy is important in that way, but even the legacy for ourselves, what we're building for ourselves in our old age, that's going to stand the test of time, that's going to be stable and secure, right? This is not just about stability and security in a financial way, although it is. But it's also about this stability and security that we want to create for where we live, to have that in our life, to feel like we're surrounded by people that at least feel like family, whether it's family or not, like people that feel like a community, that feel like family, that we've created this life with, and this desire to create that. Also for some of you, I feel like this like is about the building of this, like this is what is a focus for you, is like very much about your world, your kingdom, what you're creating. And I definitely can see that and feel that in this. And for some of you, this could be very much financially related, right? Around like career, business, that kind of a thing, you know, where it's like you might feel like there's a struggle in the middle of the month with that. And like you get to the end of the month and you start to really see some progress and things starting to come to fruition and come forward. So I want to mention that because, again, this is a collective reading. It's not a one-to-one reading, so it's not going to land for everyone. So I like to just say like which aspects of the cards are really popping up for me so that it relates to more people. If you do want something really specific, you know where it is. It's down in the description box if you want to book a reading with me. So when we look at the challenge that's coming up for the month, we have the Hermit card, you know, and normally the Hermit card I find is it's a really beautiful and wonderful card, even though it is more solitary, because this is where we're looking for our internal guiding light, right? Our internal intuition, our wisdom, our internal wise man or wise woman or, you know, wise one, essentially. And looking for how we can be in touch with that in a very clear and real way so that we can have that guidance. And I feel like that internal light and guidance, this sun energy too, we could actually say is connected to that here, feels dampened and almost feels like it's maybe not so clear. Also, this could be hermiting away in a way that is actually not beneficial to you, right? Like hermiting away, like closing self off from the world and just kind of like disappearing into your cave for days, and maybe not even in a way that's getting you clarity, but in a way that's not really like helpful to your vitality and your health, right? Like obviously if you're going inward and creating space to ask yourself the big picture questions about like, you know, what is it like, and this is a big picture question card, right? For some of you, this might be that you're avoiding doing this, that you're avoiding like asking yourself these big picture questions about what it is that you want. Like, what do you want to create for your life? You know, what you wanted 5 years ago, 10 years ago may not be the same dream that you have for what you want to create now. The ideas that you had for where you wanted to live or the business that you wanted to be involved in or create. All of these kinds of things might have looked a certain way and you might have put a lot of time, energy, and attention and gotten the momentum going in a certain direction. And you might need to realize like, hey, some of this isn't really aligned with me anymore, right? Like, what kind of conversations do I want to be having? What kind of people do I want to surround myself with? What are the environments that I want to be in? You know, like things of that nature, like what lights you up, right? These are the questions. And I feel like these are the big picture questions. So for some of you, this might be about avoiding that, but I feel like for some of you, this might be about hermiting to a degree that is unhealthy or just like, it's not really productive. Maybe you're like shutting yourself away and like, you know, not really getting anywhere, not really getting this kind of clarity because you're not really doing anything with the time that is productive or that is clarifying. It's just time away from people and not really figuring these things out, not really asking yourself these questions. So just wanted to point that out. I think that like it's interesting that the spiritual advice that you have coming through is the 8 of Swords, you know, and again, like some people might be like, how is that good advice? I think it's great advice because it's like, get out of your head. You got to get out of your head, right? Which sounds like this is being in your head when you're asking yourself big picture questions, but you're feeling into it. You're not just like in your head. This is like get out of your head in your stories. Oftentimes we back ourselves into corners and perceive that we don't really have as many options as we really have, as many possibilities as are really there, and we don't see them or don't want to acknowledge them because we back ourselves into a corner where we think I only have this option, or I feel trapped or I feel confined, and that's an illusion. You have more agency over your life than that. We all do. And so when this card comes up, to me, like this is like one of the main things I think of every time with this card is question your beliefs, question your stories that you're telling yourself, because often you will find that they are inaccurate or completely and wholly untrue. So this is a time for you to, when you have certain kinds of limiting beliefs or certain kinds of confronting thoughts or things that feel like they make your world small or minimized, it's time to ask yourself, is that really true? Like, is that absolutely true? And you might recognize that if that's like work that you've done with like Byron Katie's work or something like that, but finding some kind of way of asking yourself, like, is this a story or is this fact? You know, like, what are the actual facts? Cool. These are the facts. So facts are like, from there you can actually determine like the clarity and like see like how many more possibilities are open and available to you, how much choice is open available to you, versus when you're in story and you think like, oh no, I can only do like one of these options, and you convince yourself that your world is much smaller than it is. So this is a time to get out of your head. And when you have limiting thoughts and beliefs that come up, ask yourself if that is fact or fiction, right? Is this a story that I'm creating, or is this based on truth? And that's about people, about yourself, about your opportunities in life, about what you're creating in your life, about everything, right? So that's what this is about. I think this is a good reading, Capricorn. I think that there's like, it seems like there's just like some personal work that's up, and, you know, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It feels like there is like a, you know, one of the things that we can say with the sun is that this is like our compass, right? It's the way in which we want to get things done in the world, the way in which we want to explore the world, the way in which we want to embody things in the world. And so the sun is a compass in that way, in very similarly, right? And so I think that there is some searching, some internal compass stuff that's going on, some things to feel through. And perhaps there might be a period in the middle of the month that feels more challenging to that. And I think that these are related, actually. So, you know, take this in. I hope that this is helpful and insightful. If it is, please consider giving the video a like. It does help as I'm building the channel with the algorithm and all of that. And if you don't want to miss the bi-month or the bi-weeklies for the readings, and also the astrological highlight videos and things that are on the horizon, make sure that you hit the subscribe and notification bell so that you don't miss anything on the horizon and see what the stars and the cards have in store for your life. So I will see you in the next video. Thanks for being here. Bye.